On Christmas Eve, under the glow of festive lights, a millionaire father spotted a young woman digging through a dumpster. At first, he thought she was just searching for scraps. But then he noticed something in her hands, not food, but an old, worn-out notebook. That single moment would turn his world upside down. Because hidden inside those fragile pages was a secret that could bring his grieving daughter back to life. And lead to a love story no one ever expected. The woman's name was Brenda. Her clothes were torn, her hands trembling from the cold. She clutched the notebook to her chest like it was the only thing keeping her alive. Just then, a little girl's voice broke the silence. "Daddy, I'm hungry. Can we have cookies tonight?" It was Chloe, Noah's daughter. For months, Chloe had barely smiled since her mother passed away. But the moment Brenda pulled a single, crumbling cookie from her pocket and offered it to her, everything changed. Chloe's eyes lit up. She laughed. A sound Noah hadn't heard in so long, it nearly broke him. Noah couldn't believe it. This stranger, someone who had nothing, managed to bring joy back into his daughter's life in seconds. But as he looked at the worn notebook Brenda held so tightly, he couldn't shake the feeling. There was something more to this woman than she was letting on. Before the streets became her home, Brenda's life had been very different. She was once a talented chef, known for creating desserts that could make people smile no matter how heavy their hearts were. Her recipes were more than food, they were pieces of her soul, scribbled down in the very notebook she now guarded with her life. But then, everything unraveled. A series of tragedies left her jobless, her savings gone, and her dreams shattered. One by one, the people she trusted walked away, until she was left with nothing but the notebook, and the hope that maybe one day, her creations would bring joy again. She carried it everywhere, even as she dug through trash just to survive. To Brenda, those pages weren't just recipes, they were memories of who she used to be. And now, fate had placed her in the path of a grieving man and his lonely daughter. What Brenda didn't know was that the very notebook she clung to would soon pull her into Noah's world and change all three of their lives forever. Days turned into weeks, and Brenda's presence in Noah's home began to feel almost natural. At first, she only came by to help Chloe bake simple treats. But soon, the kitchen filled with the sound of laughter, the smell of warm cookies, and the kind of happiness that had been missing since Noah's wife passed away. Chloe adored her. She'd sit on the counter, eyes wide, as Brenda showed her how to knead dough or decorate cakes with sprinkles. For the first time in years, Chloe was smiling, giggling, and running through the house like a child again. And Noah noticed something he hadn't expected. It wasn't just Chloe who was healing, it was him too. Brenda's kindness, her quiet strength, and the way she treated Chloe with such genuine love, it stirred something in him he thought had died long ago. Still, a question lingered in Noah's mind. Who was this woman really? Because as much as she brought light into their lives, Brenda was hiding more pain, and more secrets, than either of them could imagine. But not everyone saw Brenda the way Noah and Chloe did. Whispers started first, neighbors curious about the mysterious woman suddenly spending so much time in the millionaire's house. Then came the headlines. Tabloids branded her a gold digger, claiming she had tricked Noah by preying on his grief. Noah tried to ignore it, but doubt crept in like a shadow. Could the rumors be true? Was Brenda really after something more than kindness? Brenda noticed the way he looked at her, the hesitation, the quiet questions he didn't ask out loud. And it cut deeper than she expected. She had endured hunger, loneliness, and humiliation, but Noah's suspicion was worse than any of it. So one cold evening, without a word, she packed her notebook and slipped away. When Chloe discovered Brenda was gone, her heart shattered. She cried for hours, begging her father to bring her back. Noah held her close, but inside, guilt gnawed at him. For the first time, he wondered if by doubting Brenda, he had just destroyed the one chance at healing his family. But what Noah didn't know was that Brenda hadn't left because of the rumors alone. She was carrying a secret, one that would soon unravel everything he thought he knew. Brenda wandered the city streets, notebook pressed tightly against her chest, trying to convince herself she'd done the right thing. Walking away was safer, for Chloe, for Noah, and maybe even for herself. But fate had other plans. One night, as she flipped through the notebook by the dim light of a shelter, a photograph slipped out, one she hadn't seen in years. It was of a baby. Her baby. The child she had lost long ago when her world had collapsed. Her hands shook as she traced the tiny face. Tears blurred her vision. She had convinced herself those memories were buried forever, until now. At the same time, Noah found himself staring at a photo of his late wife, tucked away in Chloe's room. Something about her smile. The way her eyes mirrored Brenda's warmth, it sparked a connection he couldn't explain. Piece by piece, the truth began to surface. The rumors, the suspicions, none of it mattered anymore. Brenda's pain was real. And her story wasn't about gold or greed. It was about loss, survival, and a love she thought she'd never find again. And when Noah finally uncovered what Brenda had been hiding, it left him stunned. Because her secret wasn't just about her past. It was about his family's future. Noah couldn't ignore the truth any longer. He searched the city for days, following every lead until finally, he found Brenda sitting on the steps of a shelter, clutching her notebook like a lifeline. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Noah sat beside her and said softly, "Chloe needs you, and so do I." The walls Brenda had built around her heart crumbled. Through tears, she confessed everything, her lost child, the pain she carried, and how meeting Chloe had awakened a part of her she thought was gone forever. Instead of judgment, Noah offered his hand. Not out of pity, but love. When Brenda returned with him, Chloe ran into her arms, laughing and crying all at once. It was as if the little girl's world had been restored in a single embrace. From that day forward, Brenda wasn't just a visitor in their home, she was family. Her recipes, once forgotten, filled the kitchen with warmth again. And when Noah finally asked her to be his wife, it wasn't a fairy tale. It was redemption. Brenda had walked into their lives with nothing but a crumbling cookie and an old notebook. Yet she gave them something worth more than money or status could ever buy. She gave them love. And together, they proved that even from hunger, love can grow.